Accidents happen every day, even to famous people. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 celebrities who were killed in car accidents.
Fans continued to pay their respects at a makeshift memorial set up at the crash site, leaving behind candles and movie memorabilia.
For this list, we will only be looking at actors, musicians, athletes, and other celebrities who met their ends by way of an automobile accident. We're excluding race car drivers and other driving professionals, as they deserve their own list.
Big trouble! Big wreck behind them! Beat him back, come on!
Number 10, Ryan Dunn.
Police are investigating the cause of a fiery car crash that killed 2 people, including Ryan Dunn, one of the stars of the popular MTV show Jackass.
He was known as one of the gutsiest members of the Jackass crew, who would jump at the chance to take on the most extreme stunts. After so many death-defying tricks, maybe he thought he was invincible. But early on June 20th, 2011, he proved he wasn't when he crashed his Porsche 911 into a tree in Pennsylvania, killing himself and his passenger.
Dunn's car caught fire, the impact and flames killing him and fellow passenger Zach Hartwell.
If the Twitter pics he'd posted earlier in the night weren't evidence enough, toxicology reports later revealed that Dunn's blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit, and his speed at the time of the collision was between 132 and 140 miles per hour.
Police have done an accident reconstruction and say Dunn's Porsche might have been traveling as fast as 130 miles per hour.
His friends and fans mourned the fallen stuntman as their random hero. Number 9, Cliff Burton. As the bassist for the hottest band in thrash metal, Cliff Burton's death in 1986 could have also meant the death of Metallica. While touring Sweden for their Master of Puppets album, the band was unhappy with their sleeping arrangements, so Burton and guitarist Kirk Hammett played cards to see who'd get the prime bunk. Burton won, and was asleep there when the bus went off the road and flipped, throwing Burton from the vehicle and pinning him underneath it.
At about 5 or 6 in the morning, I heard a skidding, I heard a vibration, and then this motion. I thought we were going off a cliff.
While singer James Hetfield originally accused the driver of being drunk, he was found not at fault for the crash, claiming he'd skidded on black ice.
And I recall in my underwear, and socks, walking for miles, looking for this black ice, walking back on. Where's this black ice? I don't see any black ice. And I wanted to kill this guy. I was gonna end him there.
Number 8, Paul Walker.
Then it's over. I didn't call the police, but don't push me! Put the gun down! I swear to God! You are the cop! You're a cop!
Best known for his role in the octane and nitro-fueled Fast and Furious film series, death unfortunately imitated art for Paul Walker in 2013. As a passenger in racer friend Roger Rodas' Carrera GT, Walker was killed when the Porsche struck a cement light pole and trees and burst into flames.
Fans continued to pay their respects at a makeshift memorial set up at the crash site, leaving behind candles and movie memorabilia.
With drugs, alcohol, and mechanical issues ruled out, investigators determined that speed alone was the cause for the accident, with speeds of up to 93 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone being quoted. Walker was in the middle of filming Furious 7, which was later completed with his family's blessing.
They don't teach you in acting how to mourn someone and simultaneously pretend they're in a scene with you.
Number 7, George S. Patton.
Controversial and feared, George Patton angered his superiors, ruled his troops with an iron fist, and helped lead U.S. forces to victory in World War II.
As a highly decorated veteran of 2 world wars, General George S. Patton was likely to either go out in a blaze of hellfire or peacefully at his home.
On his return, Americans showed their gratitude. In General Pershing's words, it didn't hurt America to have a general so bold that he was dangerous.
However, the folk icon, known for his fiery, profanity-laced speeches, instead died when the Cadillac he was riding in had a low-speed collision with a supply truck on December 8, 1945. While the other occupants of the car were relatively unharmed, Patton struck his head, snapping his neck in the process. Paralyzed from the neck down, the general died in his sleep 2 weeks later of heart failure, sparking cries of conspiracy due to the bizarre nature of this war hero's demise.
His personality lives on in his statue at West Point. He lived for action and glory and reached the heights in serving his country.
Number 6. Jane Mansfield.
The lady's a trap.
Hot, much too hot.
Too hot to handle.
Much too much.
Celebrated for her obvious sex appeal, Jane Mansfield died when the car she was traveling in crashed into and drove under a tractor trailer in June 1967.
After Jane's performance on June 28, 1967, the group packed up for a late-night drive to New Orleans.
Mansfield, 3 of her children, her boyfriend, and their driver were traveling to New Orleans when the truck in front of them slowed down suddenly, killing all 3 adults and causing minor injuries to the kids. Contrary to persistent rumors about the crash, Mansfield was not in fact decapitated during the accident. However, the event did change vehicle safety for the better, resulting in the addition of an underride guard, otherwise known as the Mansfield bar, added underneath all trailers.
In the end, she got her wish. Today, her fame lives on, in the success of her best films, in the legend of her lifestyle, and in the career of her daughter, actress Mariska Hargitay.
Number 5. Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
Inundate your mind with intentions to turn you out. Don't forget to focus on the picture in front of me. Do it clear as DVD on digital TV screen.
The life of Lisa Lopez was not an easy one, but things were looking up prior to her 2002 death.
32,000, Lisa.
In Honduras with her family for a spiritual retreat, the TLC singer had been involved in a crash 2 weeks previous to her own death, which resulted in the accidental death of a 10-year-old boy. That left Lopez shaken, thinking it should have been her instead. That's why it was so eerie when she was killed shortly thereafter. She swerved to avoid a car, rolling the Mitsubishi she was driving and causing herself and the 3 other occupants to be thrown from the vehicle. Only Lopez was killed.
So 8 people in the car, everybody made it except for her. That day was the end of TLC as we knew it.
Number 4. Jackson Pollock.
I want to express my feelings rather than illustrate them. Technique is just a means of arriving at a statement.
Famous for his abstract artwork, Jackson Pollock was also known for his issues with alcohol.
I'm afraid suicide and alcoholism are a very sad dimension of the whole abstract expressionist movement.
Driving with his mistress, Ruth Kligman, and friend Edith Metzger on August 11, 1956, Pollock, who had been drinking, began falling asleep at the wheel. When Metzger begged the painter to stop the car, Pollock became annoyed and stepped on the gas of his Oldsmobile 88.
Jackson did more than drive when he drove. He really did a form of expression, one could say, and he sometimes would express his anger by speed, or just sort of really crazy kind of driving.
Soon after, the artist failed to navigate a series of turns and struck a tree, which resulted in him being thrown 50 feet into a tree and killed. Metzger was also killed, but Kligman survived the accident and lived into her 80s.
Him dying in an automobile accident became almost a James Dean, Camus kind of mythology. That helped the romance of the great artist.
Number 3. Grace Kelly.
She became one of America's all-time great movie stars. And then 26 years ago, threw all that over to marry Prince Rainier and become princess of the tiny European Principality of Monaco.
Grace Kelly truly lived a Hollywood life, but it had a less than happy ending.
Naturally, when I first arrived in Monaco, there were some problems in adapting, but with the birth of our first child, this was when I began to feel at home.
Princess Grace and her daughter Princess Stephanie were driving to the family's city home from their country place in September 1982 when Grace suffered a stroke. When Kelly lost control of the car, her daughter attempted to stop it, but was unable to prevent it from driving off a steep embankment. Neither princess was wearing a seatbelt, and both were flung about the car. Stephanie survived, but Princess Grace sustained heavy internal bleeding and later died in hospital, prompting a huge funeral where the elite from around the world paid tribute to a fallen princess. Number 2, James Dean.
Jimmy, we probably have a great many young people watching our show tonight, and for their benefit, I'd like your opinion about fast driving on the highway. Do you think it's a good idea?
A good point. I used to fly around quite a bit, you know. I took a lot of unnecessary chances.
Known as the actor of his generation, James Dean was also a passionate car racer. When the rebel without complacency ordered a new Lotus Mark IX in 1955, shipment was delayed, so he decided to upgrade his current Porsche to the much faster Porsche 550 Spyder. Excited to be behind the wheel in an upcoming race, Dean was advised by his mechanic to drive the Porsche to the event to break it in and gain experience with it.
He's turning left.
He's got it, sis.
Normally, Dean would have towed it, and this proved to be a fatal decision when Dean was killed en route to the race, when he had a head-on collision with another vehicle while reportedly traveling at 85 miles per hour.
Now I drive on the highways, I'm extra cautious, because no one knows what they're doing. Half the time you don't know what this guy's going to do with that one.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
You wanted to party? Yeah, let's go!
Well, I didn't go to work and told the boss I was sick. Now you can't use a car because you didn't work a lick.
How are things in your life these days? Pretty good?
Well, George and I are partners in the Yankees. Everything's going wonderful.
He was a man who had spent all of his adult life surrounded by hockey, and his salary and stature in the public eye revolved around hockey games. By a twist of fate, there were no NHL hockey games scheduled on the day of his funeral.
Number 1, Lady Diana Spencer.
A very, very tragic turn with confirmation from Buckingham Palace tonight that the world has lost Princess Diana at age 36, dead in a car crash in Paris along with her companion of the past several weeks.
Riddled with controversy and a changer of royal protocol, few single deaths in the 90s carried as much impact as that of Lady Di. While the accident that caused Diana's death was originally blamed on a relentless swarm of paparazzi that was pursuing her through the streets of Paris in August 1997.
She couldn't move anywhere without a lens within feet of her face.
Investigators later determined it was the drunkenness of her driver, Henri Paul, which resulted in the crash of the Mercedes she and her partner Dodi Fayed were in. Although both Paul and Fayed were killed in the crash, Diana initially survived the impact, but died soon after from shock, cardiac arrest, and internal injuries, prompting a huge outpouring of grief from across the globe.
Goodbye, England's rose. May you well grow in our hearts. You are the grace that placed yourselves where lives were torn apart.
Do you agree with our list? Which celebrity car crash impacted you the most? For more top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Take it easy driving. The life you might save might be mine.